Hi, I'm Rosalie, and we're filming a affordable housing story in my future home in Tabernash today. My husband David and I met in Fraser in the 90s before moving to go to college. After we were married and had several kids, we just longed to return to a rural life. And so in the summer of 2012, we left St. Louis and we moved in with some family members here in the county briefly before renting our lovely three-bedroom apartment in Wapiti Meadows. This was a affordable housing development built by the Sisters of Mercy several decades ago in Fraser. Rent prices there were similar to what our St. Louis mortgage had been, and we embraced with gratitude our new rural life. Shortly after my grandmother passed away and left a bit of an inheritance in 2013, we began discussing how to make our new home here more permanent. Even at that time, the cost of purchasing a home for our family was prohibitive. However, we knew home ownership was the key to our future stability. We purchased a lot from my father that he had purchased in the 90s, along with his home lot, and we designed, permitted, and broke ground on our future home in the fall of 2014. In January of 2015, our beautiful third child was born. Of course, that threw a little wrench in our building plans. However, later that fall, we had our annual recertification meeting at our Wapiti Meadows apartment. At the time of the meeting, we were told we were having a rent increase of $140, which was difficult to say the least, but not insurmountable. We did some look at our budget and we figured out a way to make that work. Later that week, we received a bombshell. Rent for our three-bedroom apartment was actually climbing further due to the sale of the property and was now increased $350 each month, which is a 47% increase. This is over $4,000 a year, and this was insurmountable. Now, $350 may seem like a lot of money to you, but for some well-to-do folks, it might not seem that bad. However, a 47% increase should sound and feel striking to everyone. A simple experiment: take your current housing cost, multiply by 47%, and add that back to the first number. Now sit with that number. Would that number take you to a place of chaos, of unsustainability? Could you pay that extra amount going forward indefinitely, knowing that you are also likely to have future yearly increases? Weathering that increase was nowhere near an option for us. The home we were building was coming along slowly, but it wouldn't be an option for years. We scrambled to find a more affordable option, and we wound up at Granby Jones. What does it feel like moving your family of 5 out of a large 3-bedroom, 2-level apartment into a worn-down 2-bedroom, single-wide trailer? It feels cramped. And we did have to take some time off from building our house to get that trailer ready to live in. It was partially rehabbed, and we had to get it ready to live in. So that was hard too. And we also had to place numerous furnishings and books and kitchen supplies into storage because there just was no room for them. While our move was our most financially viable option, this was a decision that doesn't age well. Infants don't need much room, but 6-year-olds need more. My daughter, who was 10 in 2015 when we moved in, is a teenager now. We're splitting at the seams. Our boisterous family is hard on the frail older furnishings of the trailer. We've made it as homey as possible, but it's certainly inconvenient sharing a single bathroom and dealing with terrible water pressure, as well as frequent water shutoffs and a finicky furnace. We have grown to love our neighbors, our yard, and the proximity to our church, which is just across the field from us. And of course, we are grateful for the roof over our heads. This mobile home is part of our journey. Granby Jones has been a blessing, and we are grateful to be here, and we want to see people to be able to continue to use this resource in our community. It's valuable, and we need more options like it. Building our own house has been far more challenging and time-consuming and lengthy than we had ever anticipated. And we have had setbacks, both large and small. People I talk to all the time, once they realize we are building this house ourselves, are very incredulous. This is surprising to me because this is very culturally normal for me and my family. We did this several times when I was growing up. It seems crazy on the surface, but it is also an incredibly sound idea. Simply put, I can't get a job or make an investment that will be a better financial impact on our family than completing this house. The security from future increases alone is very stabilizing, especially as Grand County housing costs spiral out of control. Market value affects what the rents are. As market value increases, rents increase, whether people can afford it or not. I am telling you this story not to garner sympathy or concern for our family, as we are doing well and getting closer to the finish line of our new house. I'm telling you this story because housing has been an issue here since my parents moved here in the 90s. My affordable housing story actually starts then because I actually didn't live with my parents in the 3 years I lived in high school here. I lived with family friends in a 3-season porch, and my parents lived in an RV with my siblings. There was no good options for their housing except for them to complete their own home too back then. And many folks don't have the same opportunities our family has had to build their own home. So they're just faced with who knows. Luckily, our family has a long-term solution for ourselves on the horizon, but many folks don't. So if you are wondering what you can do and how you can help, there are lots of things you can do. If you're a homeowner, do you have the capacity to add a mother-in-law apartment or to your basement or over your garage? Or if you're building a garage, add it then. Do you have land that could be subdivided and you could sell some of it off to someone who could put in their own house? Or you could even potentially put in a double wide, rent that out or sell it. And if you are a builder in the area, could you consider a small discount for locals? If you were here for 1 to 5 years, lived here for 1 to 5 years, you could have 10% off. Or if you'd lived here from 5 to 10 years, you could do a 20% discount. That could be really helpful to someone who's building their own home. If you're a second homeowner, would you consider a seasonal rental instead of a short-term vacation rental? You will certainly make less money, but the benefits of building the capacity to our community are huge, and it'd be great to consider those as well. And if you can't do those sorts of things presently, that's okay. Donating your time or a financial donation to our local Habitat for Humanity could help. Just getting involved in the community discussions about housing and sharing information to help people make decisions to make things easier. Our community can be committed to creating a more even-keeled housing market. We need options for lower class as well as middle class folks to live into. There's not really any options right now. When our high schoolers graduate from high school and need to get their first apartment, where are they going to live? When our new college grads just finish up their nursing degree, Where are they going to live? And when a couple gets married and has a baby on the way and they need to buy a starter house, where are they going to live? There's no houses in that income bracket. Those youngsters who are starting out on their own are not going to be able to afford a $700,000 home. It's just not possible. Mathematically, it is not possible. And so we need to address those fields in our market and find options for them as well as the luxury homes. We are becoming a revolving door. People come here for the jobs. They enjoy living here, but they can't sustain the lifestyle. They can't live here and not have a place that's good to live. And lastly, they can't work 3 and 4 and 5 jobs and also be there for their families and have young children they're caring for and be able to be a good member of the citizens. The idea that if you just work harder, maybe if we work 80 hours a week, what if we work 90 hours a week? Could then we get one of these homes? It's not sustainable. People are working themselves to death just trying to keep a roof over their heads. We need to address those concerns. We can do better. Grand County residents of all economic groups are impacted by our housing situation. Whether you're wealthy, you're middle class, or you're lower class, this subject impacts you. It impacts you when you wait longer at the grocery store because there's no workers left. It affects you when you aren't able to get medical care locally because we can't recruit the folks to provide the care because of housing. It impacts you. If you have the capacity, just think in your hearts about all of the people who are struggling in the lower and middle classes right now. If you are well-to-do, I don't blame you at all. I'm not pointing a finger, but make our lives a little easier. Think about how much better we could do for people if we eliminated some of those barriers to housing. We could have more options for people to move into right away if people could buy a lot and put a trailer on. Even if they don't live in it permanently, it doesn't hurt anybody to live in a trailer. It's a roof over their head. We have options in this community that allow us to create more capacity that we're not using because of old regulations that are still on the books. Now, a lot of people don't want more trailers in the community, but I think they could be a big part of the solution. And if we don't want them scattered throughout, creating more trailers together in a trailer park could be a huge option. People move in there because they need places to live that are affordable. They're way more affordable than your typical build. And so we could give more options for people quicker with having some spaces like trailers or tiny homes, things like this that are more sustainable for our community, and create a well-rounded community with options for people of all economic levels, not just building only for the upper class. We need to consider these things so we can move forward together, and we're all part of the solution.